There's a kind of power that most men never find, the power of walking away first. Not after the disrespect, not after the begging, not after you've been drained of your confidence and dignity, but before the chaos consumes you, before you're left shattered and questioning your worth. Most men stay too long. They tolerate being taken for granted. They convince themselves that if they just try harder, wait longer, love more, things will change. They confuse endurance with strength and loyalty with self-abandonment. And then, when they're finally discarded, they're left broken, angry at her, but even more angry at themselves for staying. But the man who walks away first, he reclaims his power, he protects his dignity, he chooses himself, not out of spite, but out of clarity. Because walking away first isn't about pride or revenge, it's about self-respect. It's about refusing to stay where you are not valued, refusing to fight for a place you've already earned, and refusing to let anyone else decide your worth. This is what dark Stoicism teaches, that the highest form of strength is the discipline to walk away with calm confidence. To say without anger or chaos, "This is no longer where I belong. I will not beg to be chosen. I will choose myself first." If you're ready to stop handing your power away, to stop living in reaction to someone else's choices, and to start living from a place of calm, disciplined strength, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I choose myself first. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Why walking away first is power. Walking away first flips the entire dynamic, not because you're playing games, but because you're reclaiming control. Most men wait until they're discarded. They wait until the disrespect piles up so high that they can't ignore it. And by the time they finally leave, their confidence has been eroded and their value diminished. But the man who walks away first, he leaves on his terms. He refuses to wait until he's broken. That choice is what makes walking away so powerful. It's an act of strength, not desperation. It sends a message, not to her, but to yourself. I will never stay where I am not valued. My peace is my priority. The Stoics understood this concept deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." You can't control how someone treats you. You can't control whether they stay or go. But you can control whether you remain in spaces where you're diminished, disrespected, or devalued. Psychologically, walking away first protects you from the cycle of emotional dependence. It stops the pattern of over-investing in someone who's already checked out. It keeps your self-respect intact and allows you to rebuild without the added weight of regret or humiliation. And here's the paradox. The man who walks away first often becomes the man remembered, because strength leaves an impression. Quiet confidence lingers in the mind far longer than pleading or chasing ever could. Walking away first isn't weakness. It's the ultimate act of strength, because the man who chooses to leave is the man who understands his worth and refuses to let anyone bargain with it. Number 2. Detachment is the ultimate freedom. The real strength behind walking away first isn't in the act itself. It's in the mindset that makes it possible, detachment. When you master detachment, you stop clinging to what's leaving. You stop begging for what isn't yours. And in that moment, you find something most men never discover: freedom. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you're cold or numb. It means you refuse to let your emotions control you. You can love someone and still be willing to let them go when their presence no longer aligns with your peace or your growth. That balance, caring deeply but never desperately, is what makes you untouchable. The Stoics lived by this principle. Epictetus said, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well." Detachment is accepting reality without resistance. It's the quiet strength to say, if this is leaving, let it leave. I will remain grounded. From a psychological perspective, detachment is power. It keeps you from spiraling into obsession or desperation. It allows you to act with clarity, not chaos. And that clarity opens the door to a life where you make decisions from a place of strength, not fear. When you detach, you reclaim your energy. You stop bleeding it into dead situations. You stop performing for validation, and you start redirecting that energy inward to your mission, your growth, your discipline. Detachment doesn't make you less of a man, it makes you more. Because the man who can stay calm while everything else changes is the man no one, not her, not rejection, not loss, can control. Number 3, breaking the cycle of begging and chasing. Most men trap themselves in a cycle they don't even realize they're in, begging and chasing. When she pulls away, they chase harder. When she goes cold, they double their effort. When she disrespects them, they try to prove their worth. And with every attempt, their value erodes a little more until they've handed over every ounce of power they once had. Walking away first breaks that cycle. It's the moment you stop seeking validation from someone who's already shown you they don't value it. It's the moment you realize that chasing doesn't create respect. It destroys it. The Stoics would call this reclaiming your reason. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, stop trying to convince someone of your value. Stand firm in it. And if they can't see it, walk away. Psychologically, this shift is profound. Chasing triggers anxiety and obsession because it keeps your mind locked in a loop of scarcity and fear. But walking away resets that loop. It removes the chaos and gives you back control. Your mind clears, your focus sharpens, and your energy that was once wasted, is now yours to invest in yourself. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop chasing is often the moment they start noticing. Because strength is rare, calm confidence is rare, and walking away without drama or anger, that's the rarest move of all. Breaking the cycle isn't about punishing anyone else. It's about freeing yourself from the need for validation, from the fear of loss, from the illusion that begging ever built anything real. Number 4, the psychological edge of scarcity. Humans are wired to value what feels scarce. When you're always available, always texting first, always dropping everything to respond, always proving yourself, your presence loses its weight. You become common, predictable, easy to take for granted. Walking away first flips that script. Your absence creates scarcity, and that scarcity changes everything, not because you're playing games, but because you've stopped giving yourself away so freely. Your time, your energy, your attention, they become valuable again because you've reclaimed them. The Stoics understood this concept long before psychology gave it a name. Seneca wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." Translation, your presence should be earned. It's not a charity, it's an investment. Psychologically, scarcity creates what's known as perceived value. When you step away calmly, without anger, without pleading, you disrupt the pattern. She begins to notice the silence. She feels the absence. And in that quiet space, she starts to reflect on what she once took for granted. But here's the paradox. By the time that shift happens, you won't even care. Because scarcity isn't about making her want you back. It's about recognizing your worth so deeply that you no longer need her recognition. Scarcity isn't manipulation, it's self-respect. And the man who respects himself enough to pull his energy back is the man who becomes magnetic, not because he's trying, but because true strength always draws attention. Number 5. Emotional control over emotional chaos. Walking away first only works when it comes from emotional control, not impulse. If you leave out of anger, if you storm out to get a reaction, you're still being controlled by her, by the situation, by your emotions. But when you walk away from a place of calm discipline, that's when your power becomes undeniable. The Stoics mastered this principle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Emotional control is that strength in action. It's the ability to feel the pain, the disappointment, the anger, and still respond with clarity. not chaos. Psychologically, emotional control creates what's called predictable stability. When you act out of impulse, people learn they can manipulate your reactions. But when you're calm and measured, even in situations that would shake most men, you become untouchable. You stop playing the game because you've already won it. This discipline doesn't numb you, it refines you. It keeps your dignity intact. It keeps you from saying words you'll regret, from making decisions you can't take back. And it teaches you something priceless, that your emotions don't have to dictate your actions. And here's the paradox. When you stop being reactive, people notice. They expect anger, chaos, and noise. But when you choose silence, when you walk away without drama, it leaves a deeper mark than any argument ever could. Emotional control is what turns walking away from an act of fear into an act of strength. And the man who can master that balance becomes a man no one, not her, not rejection, not loss, can ever break. Number 6. Building yourself in the space you created. Walking away isn't just about leaving something behind, it's about creating space. Space to rebuild, space to grow, space to become the man you were meant to be. Most men waste that space. They fill it with distractions, with rebound relationships, with noise. But the man who uses that space with discipline, he transforms. The Stoics lived for this kind of focused solitude. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." When you walk away first, you have an opportunity to do exactly that, to redefine who you are and build your life around that vision. Psychologically, this is where the shift really happens. Your energy, once scattered and desperate for validation, becomes focused. You start investing in your body, your mind, your mission. Every rep in the gym, every book you read, every quiet hour spent building your skills compounds over time. And the result? You start to see yourself differently. You stop identifying as the man who was left or the man who chased. You start becoming the man who doesn't wait to be chosen because he's too busy choosing himself every single day. And here's the beauty of this stage. The growth is quiet. It doesn't need to be posted, doesn't need to be announced. You just build. And one day, the man staring back at you in the mirror isn't the same man who walked away. He's stronger, sharper, calmer, unshakable. Walking away gives you the space. What you do with that space is what determines whether you stay the same or rise into something they never saw coming. Number 7. When she realizes what she lost. There's a moment, sometimes weeks later, sometimes months, when she notices the shift. The silence that once felt like nothing now feels deafening. The man who once chased, begged, and argued is now gone. And that absence creates a gravity that can't be ignored. Psychologically, this is where cognitive dissonance sets in. She had you labeled, predictable, available, always there. But now, the story no longer matches reality. You're no longer chasing, no longer waiting, no longer orbiting her world. And that realization plants the seed of regret, not because you played games, but because strength is rare and calm detachment is magnetic. The Stoics would tell you this isn't the goal. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not the things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." The goal was never to make her regret. The goal was to reclaim yourself. But often, that reclamation is exactly what shifts the dynamic, not just in her mind, but in the way the world sees you. And here's the paradox. By the time she realizes what she lost, you've already outgrown the version of yourself that needed her validation. You've built a life so solid, so purpose-driven, that her opinion, her silence, her attention, no longer carries the weight it once did. Her regret isn't your victory, your growth is. Because the man who chose himself first doesn't wait around to be remembered. He's too busy building something better. Number 8. Rising without revenge. The weakest thing you can do after walking away is try to prove yourself, to her, to anyone. Revenge might feel tempting at first, posting for attention, flaunting progress just to get a reaction, but that's not strength. That's still neediness wearing a mask. The man who truly walks away doesn't rise for anyone but himself. His progress is private. His discipline is quiet. His victories are for him, not for applause, not for validation, and definitely not for revenge. The Stoics warned against this trap. Seneca said, "He who seeks wisdom is a lover of truth. He who seeks revenge is a slave to it." When your rise is driven by the need to be seen, you're still chained to the very thing you walked away from. Psychologically, true detachment is what frees you. When you stop performing for others, your growth accelerates, because every ounce of energy goes into building, not broadcasting. That's why the man who rises without revenge always rises higher. His progress is steady, disciplined, and rooted in something far deeper than external recognition. And here's the beauty of this approach. When you rise quietly, your growth speaks for itself. People notice. They can't help but. But by then, you won't even care, because the life you've built isn't about being remembered. It's about being proud of the man you've become. Rising without revenge is the ultimate power move, because it proves, without a single word, that you no longer need anyone else to validate what you already know, that you chose yourself, and that choice was enough. Number 9, becoming the man she can't forget. When you walk away first, not in anger, not for attention, but in calm, deliberate strength, you do something most men never will. You leave a lasting impression, not because you wanted to, not because you tried to, but because strength and self-respect are unforgettable. The man who detaches without bitterness, who rebuilds without noise, who rises without asking to be seen, that man becomes impossible to ignore, not because of what he says, but because of what he is. The Stoics understood this principle of quiet power. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." When you live with purpose, when you carry yourself with calm confidence and quiet discipline, you stop needing to announce anything. Your presence does the talking. Psychologically, this creates what's called imprinted value, the kind of lasting impression that lingers long after you've left someone's orbit. Because in a world where most men chase and beg, the man who chose himself stands out. And here's the paradox. By the time she realizes what you've become, you no longer care whether she sees it or not. You're too busy living, too busy building, too busy becoming the man you once wished you were. The man who walks away first, who rebuilds himself without noise or validation, doesn't just become stronger, he becomes unforgettable. Number 10, the Stoic life of a man who chooses himself. At the core of walking away, first, is a deeper truth. You've chosen yourself. Not just in that moment, but in every moment after. You've built a life where your peace, your growth, and your purpose come first. Not because you're selfish, but because you understand that everything else in your life flows from the strength you build within. This is the Stoic life. Quiet mornings spent sharpening your mind, disciplined afternoons building your body, focused evenings pursuing your mission. You're no longer waiting for someone to choose you, because you've already chosen yourself, and that choice has set you free. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And when your thoughts are disciplined, calm, and rooted in purpose, your entire world changes. You no longer chase. You no longer cling. You no longer give your power away. Psychologically, this is the point where you become unshakable. Rejection doesn't destroy you. Silence doesn't bother you. Chaos doesn't move you. Because you've built a life so full, so grounded, that nothing outside of you can shake it. And here's the real victory. When you choose yourself, the need to prove anything to anyone disappears. Your success, your growth, your peace, they're for you and you alone. That's what makes this path so powerful, because the man who lives with discipline, clarity, and purpose isn't just free, he's untouchable. Walking away first isn't about pride. It isn't about revenge. It's about discipline. It's about choosing yourself when no one else will, and building a life so strong, so grounded, that no rejection, no silence, no loss can shake it. That's what dark stoicism is at its core: quiet power, calm strength, and the wisdom to know that the highest form of value is self-respect. You don't chase, you don't beg, you don't wait to be chosen, you choose yourself. And when you do, you stop living in reaction to others and start living in alignment with the man you were always meant to be. A man of purpose, a man of discipline, a man who doesn't just survive, he rises. If you're ready to stop handing away your power and start living with that calm, unshakable confidence, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below, "I choose myself first." Thanks for watching Stoic Blessing, where men rise, rebuild, and become impossible to break.